Hi YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So, continuing on with the FXS260 Ibus 2 servo, I'm going to show you a few different setups for the Noble Pro and see what the differences are. I would have thought with the Noble Pro having more sort of options for displaying stuff coming back from Ibus 2. So I'm guessing the main difference is probably going to be on the actual screen itself, what you can see, rather than on the MB4 where you're just restricted to just sort of one line of numbers. But let's bring in for a close-up look, see how it works on the Noble Pro, and yeah, already quite impressed with this thing. So we have the Noble Pro on a reset model memory. So let's take you through a few different ways that you can use this servo. This is the FGR4S, but this is for any of the classic style receivers. So FGR4, FGR4S, 4P, I'm not sure how many others there is. But basically any that's not the enhanced ones with the assignable new ports. So first off, we're going to power this up. We're going to go into as bind. Let's bind as a classic. So yeah, you can see the whole list of them on there. Binding successful. So once we have this bound, we can just power cycle it. So we connect the servo as normal, put it on channel 1, and it doesn't really matter where we connect power. But we've got the servo connected, it's running in PWM mode. If we hop into the RX settings, so max we can have is 400 Hz, and it's more than happy working like that. So this will run as a standard servo, it run on any radio gear basically, so any receiver you've got or anything, you can buy it and it'll just plug straight in. But that's not the main sort of use for this type of servo. So let's try something different. So if we go into model, we'll reset it. So if we set channel number definitions as 12, and then we can come out of that and we can go to bind set enhanced. So let's see what happens if we set it on an enhanced receiver. Binding. Have we got it in bind mode? That's better. Binding successful. So this is the FTR12B, but this could be any of the enhanced receivers. So 8B, 4B, INR4, the gyro receiver, basically any what's got the new ports on. So if we connect to steering and we're running it on enhanced, so that seems to work. If we come through to a steering, let's try, so 400 Hz maximum, still running as PWM, that works fine. Doesn't operate on the SR or SFR, but it will run on the 400 Hz setting, and you can use synchronize with RF. Please confirm. So functionality wise, will work on an enhanced or classic receiver as a standard PWM. It looks like on the Flysky kit we've got up to 400 Hz. So if we want to use it as an Ibus 2, we've basically got to set up Ibus 2. So what we want to do is disconnect as servo, because it sends them nuts if you change this while it's actually on, and then you look for your new port that you want to assign. So new port A is this top one, So we go into interface protocol, new port A, set it to Ibus 2. Then we can back out. Then if we plug our servo into the Ibus 2 port that we've just set up, we can then go into our Ibus 2 menu, into the actual servo. We've got a servo setup, so you can change your neutral point, you can change the upper and lower end points. We've got servo reverse, so you can just go in and reverse it. You can turn the thermal protection on or off. We can adjust the power of the servo and boost. Still not sure what boost is. But yeah, you can configure all these. Your neutral point is just your center point basically. And these will stay when you power the servo off. So if you noticed on the earlier video I did on the MB4, I set the actual neutral point. So even though I set it using the MB4 and a different receiver, when I've unplugged it and put it into here, it's actually saved the neutral point. So the servo arm's straight. You can reset it. So 0, as you see, is slightly off. But because I'd already set this up on the MB4, it actually remembered its neutral point. So all these settings will stay with the servo, which is quite useful. Does mean if you've got an RC and you've set the servo up on it how you like it, you could technically just unplug that servo, plug in your spare servo, put your settings in exactly as you want them, and then you've already got that servo programmed in case you break one at track and you need to quickly swap it out. All your endpoints and everything are already set. So quite a nice option. If we come down to the data screen, we can see we've got our angle of the servo, we've got the speed of the actual servo head where it says angle speed, you've got the voltage it's running off, you've got the milliamps it's drawing, or amps when it goes over 1000. So you can make it draw quite a lot of power. You've got the temperature of the servo, so we can see what it's actually running at. And on the Noble Pro, you've got the option to actually record data. So you can set this going and record whatever data you want. You can go into these and you can change them. So you can zoom through the actual how long it's been recording. So you can have the temperature and everything. Steering will actually record. Quite interesting with the data logging. But if you're watching for a certain thing, if you're watching for your servo getting too hot, you can look back after you drive and you can see exactly what's been going on with it. And then you can flip through the actual data, zoom in and zoom out on the data screens. You can move through the data screens as well. But definitely something that's good if you're trying to diagnose a certain issue, or you're looking for a certain setup, or seeing if you use the full steering angle when you're driving. Then on this screen you can tell it what you actually want it to be. As default it'll pop in as steering for the first one. But if you'd got this on the throttle, you can move it to throttle and then it'll operate off the throttle and not the steering. So it's quite easy to tell it what servo it's actually replacing. Then if we pop all the way out, we can go into our dashboard on the Pro. And if we go down to here, I think it's going to show up as MKS. You can set your minimum, maximum angle for it. Yep. So we can have as angle reading out on there. If we change the next one, so you can have your angle speed, you could have your temperature, you could have what power it's actually pulling. Then you've also got the ones on the top that you can set. So if we go choose sensor, choose the one we want to replace, come all the way down to your servo, and you can choose various different ones. So you can have all sorts reading. Really depends what you want displaying. But yeah, quite an impressive little servo. Multiple different ways of using it, and it's quite nice that although it's really nice to have all the Ibus 2 features, it's nice that if you don't have an enhanced receiver set up, you can still use this servo as a standard PWM. But let's wrap this one up. So there you have it. Couple of different options of ways of setting up and using this servo. Definitely very impressed with this. Look forward to seeing what else comes out on the Ibus 2 sort of protocol. And yeah, quite an impressive little servo. Nice to see the differences on the Pro with the actual display and what you can read out and everything. But yeah, very impressed with it. But thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and catch you guys again in the next one.